We often hear about world leaders meeting, right? But it feels like we rarely get to really peek behind the curtain, understand the ambitious plans they're actually laying out.
Exactly. It's usually just handshakes and headlines.
All right. So today, we're pulling that curtain back for you. Our mission to do a real deep dive into that recent joint press conference between Prime Minister Modi of India and Prime Minister Dr. Navin Chandra Ramgoolam of Mauritius. Mm-hmm. And we're not just, listing agreements. We want to uncover the layers of trust, the ambition, the strategic thinking that defines what seems like a pretty unique partnership.
It really is unique. And what's so striking about this meeting, I think, is just the sheer number of different threads they're weaving together, expertly too. Mm-hmm. It gives us this incredible window into how a bilateral relationship can deepen across, just an amazing range of areas. We're talking high-tech stuff like space research, critical oceanography, but also, fundamental economic development and, crucially, maritime security.
Wow. Okay.
It really feels like it's signaling a sort of new phase, a comprehensive cooperation.
And when you say new phase, I think we really mean it. We've actually got some genuinely, maybe even surprising details here, powerful insights that'll show you exactly why this partnership matters, not just for India and Mauritius, but really for the whole Indian Ocean region. So let's get started. Let's unearth how this high-level diplomacy actually translates into, real action on the ground.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's kick things off with something really concrete. The document exchange ceremony. Now, this wasn't just a formality, was it? Or like one or two agreements?
Not at all.
What's really revealing, I thought, was that 7 distinct agreements and memoranda of understanding, MOUs, were exchanged. That number itself, 7, that speaks volumes, doesn't it? What's the significance of that?
Oh, absolutely. It signals a level of, trust and a shared strategic vision that really goes beyond your typical diplomatic meetings. When you see 7 documents signed basically all at once, it tells you both nations aren't just looking for isolated projects here and there. They're going for an integrated, multi-sector approach to their relationship.
Okay.
And if we break down, say, the first set of 4 documents they exchange, the strategic priorities become even clearer.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so first, there was a broad memorandum of understanding on science and technology. Think of it as a framework agreement. It basically opens the door for future joint ventures across all sorts of new frontiers.
Got it. Like an umbrella?
Pretty much. And right after that, a specific MOU on oceanography. Now, this isn't just some generic pledge. It's very targeted. It's collaboration between India's Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, specifically their National Institute of Oceanography, NIO.
Okay.
And the Mauritius Oceanography Institute. Now, for Mauritius, an island nation, super vulnerable to climate change, dependent on marine resources, this is vital.
Absolutely vital.
It's about understanding their ocean, adapting, managing resources. And for India, it strengthens their maritime domain awareness, their scientific footprint, right, in a strategically critical ocean.
So it sounds very much like mutual benefit, addressing shared vulnerabilities. What else was in that first batch?
Then we had an MOU focused on governance. This was between Karmayogi Bharat DOPT from the Indian side. That's basically India's big program for civil service capacity building.
Right, I've heard of that.
And the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reforms for Mauritius. So this points to a shared focus on, making their administrative systems better, best practices, building up institutions.
Making sure the foundations are strong for all these other projects.
Exactly. You need the systems to be robust enough to handle the ambition. And then, maybe one of the most strategically significant ones in that first batch, the agreement on space research.
Space. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just general cooperation. It's specific. It's about setting up a telemetry, tracking, and telecommunication ground station in Mauritius.
Wow.
To support India's satellite launch vehicles. Plus, broader collaboration in space research, science, applications. This isn't just India sharing tech. It positions Mauritius as a really critical node in India's regional space infrastructure.
So it helps India's launches.
Enhances their launch capabilities, yeah. Especially for their growing space economy.
Yeah.
And it gives Mauritius this unique, high-tech, strategic asset. It's a very clear signal, I think, that India sees Mauritius as a vital piece of its sort of extended space capabilities, not just a recipient of aid.
That is a remarkable leap. I mean, from the depths of the ocean right up to the vastness of space. And the fact that you had top officials, right? Mr. Janamjay Singh Bishandal, Secretary for Foreign Affairs from Mauritius, and Shvikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary from India. They were the ones actually exchanging these first 4 documents. What signal does that send? The seniority involved?
Oh, it absolutely underscores the high-level political will behind all this. When the foreign secretaries themselves are physically exchanging the documents, it means these aren't just, technical side agreements. These are core parts of the national strategic agenda for both countries. Serious stuff.
Okay, so that was the first 4. What about the other 3?
Right, so building on that, the second set of 3 documents, they often tackle more immediate developmental needs, but still with those long-term strategic implications kind of woven in.
Makes sense.
So there was an MOU in the power sector. Pretty essential for energy security development in Mauritius. It means, hopefully, a more reliable, more robust energy supply, which, underpins everything else economically.
Crucial infrastructure.
Definitely. Then another MOU regarding Indian grant assistance. This was for phase 2 of small development projects. This shows India's, continued commitment to grassroots development. Community-level stuff in Mauritius fosters goodwill, has a direct impact locally.
Right, that direct support.
And finally, the renewal of an MOU in hydrography. Now, renewing an existing agreement, that highlights the long-term ongoing nature of their cooperation. Mapping, charting waters, absolutely crucial for safe navigation, maritime safety, resource exploration within their respective maritime zones. It really deepens that shared responsibility in the Indian Ocean.
So, taken together then, these 7 agreements, science, governance, space, energy, hydrography, grassroots projects, what's the overarching strategic message they send out to the wider region, maybe?
I think it communicates a really powerful message of a deepening strategic partnership. It highlights that this relationship is really evolving, moving beyond, say, a traditional donor-recipient model.
Right.
To sort of a collaborative, capacity-building, shared strategic goals. It shows India is serious about its neighborhood-first policy, and importantly, that Mauritius is a willing, even eager partner in shaping its own future, but with strong regional backing.
That really leads us perfectly into Prime Minister Modi's address, doesn't it? He framed this whole thing within India's neighborhood-first policy, calling it an enhanced strategic partnership. And he used this, I thought, really profound phrase. He said, India and Mauritius are 2 nations, but our dreams and destiny are one. That's a powerful vision. But how does rhetoric like that translate into, actual concrete strategic action?
Well, that phrase, dreams and destiny are one.
Yeah.
It's incredibly insightful because you're right. It goes beyond just diplomatic politeness.
Yeah.
It frames India's neighborhood-first policy as one that's seeking not just good relations, but genuine partnership, shared growth.
Yeah.
Where the prosperity, the security of one nation is really seen as entwined with the other. That kind of language sets the stage for mutual investment, not just aid.
And PM Modi was very specific in backing that up. He listed a whole raft of projects, investments. We heard about the Saga Ramgulam National Hospital, a new veterinary school, and animal hospital.
What are the tangible things?
Exactly. Connectivity stuff like the SSR International Airport ATC Tower, the Tata Highway. He talked about investing in our shared future, referencing India's Sagar vision that's security and growth for all in the region. Emphasizing that shared prosperity, stability across the Indian Ocean. He even mentioned promoting local currency usage. Then really specific stuff, a 17.5 megawatt floating solar power project. And on the human development side, things like 5,000 training modules, an IIT Institute of Plantation Management, support for a university of research. It's a really extensive list.
It is. And what's particularly impactful here isn't just the breadth, how many things there are. It's the focus. These projects aren't just randomly chosen or just filling gaps. They seem strategically selected to foster long-term self-sufficiency in Mauritius, aligning with their own national development goals.
That makes sense.
And that point about promoting local currency usage, that's actually quite significant. It's a step towards, de-dollarization, strengthening economic sovereignty. It positions India as a reliable economic anchor in the region.
Interesting point.
And beyond the development side, PM Modi also heavily emphasized the maritime security aspect. He really underscored India's role as a first responder and a net security provider in the Indian Ocean region.
Okay.
And he directly linked that to training 120 officers for the Mauritius Coast Guard. Now, this isn't just India protecting its own interests. It's about building a network of capable partners.
Right, strengthening the whole region.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mauritius, with its strategic location, becomes a key piece in India's broader security setup in the Indian Ocean. It enhances collective maritime awareness, response capabilities. It's really an investment in collective regional stability.
So when you put all these projects together, hospitals, solar farms, security training, the economic alignment stuff, how do they add up? How do they impact daily life for Mauritians? And what do they signal about regional stability, maybe even influence in the Indian Ocean?
Well, on the daily life front, they make a direct, tangible difference, right? Better healthcare, improved infrastructure, access to clean energy, better education opportunities. That's clear, but strategically. A more secure, more capable Mauritius contributes to a more stable Indian Ocean overall, and that's vital for global trade, communication, general peace. So yes, it's an investment in collective well-being, but it's also a clear signal of India's growing influence and its intention to be seen as the preferred partner for the region's development and security.
Okay, let's shift perspective now to Mauritius. Prime Minister Angulam's remarks were also very telling. He started with deep gratitude, right? Even mentioned the amazing welcome he got in Varanasi.
Yeah, which is Modi's constituency.
Right. And he joked about understanding PM Modi's electoral success now. He also thanked India for generous gurus, which I thought was an interesting phrase. It indicates appreciation beyond just like money or projects.
It does.
What does that personal touch, that genuine appreciation, signify about the trust level here?
I think it's more than just politeness. It reflects a really deep, long-standing relationship. It's rooted in history and culture.
Yeah.
You mentioned this was PM Ramgoolam's fourth official visit to India.
Yeah.
That shows consistent engagement. And it's worth remembering, so Shiv Sagar pointed this out, India actually had a high commission in Mauritius before its independence.
Wow, really? Before independence?
Yeah. That shows this profound, almost familial connection between the two. And that deep bond, that history, it allows for a level of open dialogue, a level of strategic alignment that, frankly, might not be possible with other partners.
So it's a relationship built on a very strong foundation then. And PM Ramgoolam clearly highlighted how Mauritius has benefited across the board: health, education, capacity building, energy, infrastructure, security. He specifically mentioned many of the projects Modi outlined. That alignment seems really strong.
It does, absolutely. But what's perhaps even more revealing are PM Ramgoolam's forward-looking points, the initiatives, the specific requests he made.
Okay, tell us about those.
So on health, he didn't just reaffirm the veterinary hospital. He announced quite significantly that a big player in health services, his words, is prepared to come to Mauritius to set up a specialized hospital, focusing on pediatrics and gynecology.
Interesting. So specialized care.
Exactly. This suggests an ambition for Mauritius to become maybe a regional hub for specialized medical services.
Yeah.
Not just receiving basic healthcare aid.
Right, moving up the value chain.
Precisely.
Yeah.
He also talked about a special economic package covering education, energy, infrastructure, health, including an Ayurvedic center. And he wrapped up by saying Modi's visit for their 57th independence anniversary really elevated relations to a higher level, citing that Mauritius-India joint document on enhanced strategic partnership. He basically affirmed that ties are now in a more dynamic and forward-looking phase.
That phrase, dynamic and forward-looking phase, it really comes alive when you look at some of the more nuanced, maybe even surprising things they discuss. They're looking to improve the double taxation avoidance treaty. That has big economic implications, right, for investment.
Huge.
On security, it wasn't just training individual officers anymore. Mauritius is apparently seeking training for its entire police force structure. That's a massive undertaking, a complete overhaul.
It really is.
And then there's this really critical need they expressed for technical cooperation from India to surveil Mauritius's vast exclusive economic zone, their EEZ, because as PM Ramgoolam apparently stated, they just lack the capacity themselves right now. That's a truly significant ask. It highlights a deep strategic reliance, doesn't it? And trust.
These specific requests are incredibly telling. You're right. Improving the double tax treaty, that's a practical step to lure Indian businesses, make Mauritius more attractive.
Makes sense.
The request for training the entire police force, that signals a desire for deep security sector reform, a comprehensive alignment with India's approach. It shows a profound level of strategic integration, much deeper than before.
Okay, but what about that EEZ surveillance? That feels like a major strategic dependence.
It is. But Perhaps the most geopolitically charged detail, the one that really elevates this partnership to another level, was PM Ramgoolam's statement about the Chagos archipelago. It was profoundly symbolic.
Okay, what did he say?
He expressed a clear desire to visit Chagos, including Diego Garcia, or Washa, as he might refer to parts of it, to put our flag there. And here's the kicker. He explicitly stated a symbolic preference for an Indian vessel over a British one for that journey.
Wow. An Indian vessel, not a British one, to go to Chagos.
Exactly. Now, this isn't just symbolism, it's a powerful diplomatic move. By preferring an Indian vessel, Mauritius is, 1, asserting its sovereignty claim over disputed territory, but 2, it's subtly signaling this shift in allegiance. Increasing reliance on India as its primary security and diplomatic partner in the region, it directly challenges those older colonial ties.
That's a massive statement.
It's a clear indicator of how deeply Mauritius is reorienting its strategic outlook. And of course, both leaders also affirm their shared commitment to tackling global challenges like maritime security and climate change.
That Chagos point is absolutely stunning. It really underscores the depth of trust and strategic alignment we've been talking about. Now, beyond these specific requests, the economic strategy Mauritius seems to be pursuing is also pretty insightful. PM Ramgoolam mentioned a high-level business meeting in Mumbai.
Right.
And he really emphasized Mauritius's unique position as a professional gateway and access point to African markets. He highlighted their memberships, SADC, COMESA, the African Union, and specifically mentioned that SADC's double taxation treaties could benefit Indian businesses looking to operate in Africa. He framed it as a win-win situation.
And that's a crucial strategic play. It shows Mauritius positioning itself not just as, waiting for help, but as a proactive economic partner.
Right, offering something valuable to India.
Precisely. By leveraging its unique position, geographic, economic, as a bridge to Africa, it offers a tangible benefit for Indian businesses wanting to expand onto the continent. This isn't charity. It's a symbiotic relationship. Mutual economic advantage, creating potentially a new economic corridor.
A win-win, like he said.
Exactly. And that whole strategy, it raises an interesting question, doesn't it? About how these kinds of emerging partnerships, South-South partnerships, can reshape traditional global economic flows.
It really does. So to kind of wrap up this section, PM Ramgoolam summed up the relationship perfectly, I thought. He said the ties are defined not just by history or geography, but by, quote, shared values, a common vision, and an enduring friendship.
A powerful statement. Captures it well.
What an extraordinary deep dive this turned out to be. We've really uncovered an astonishing breadth of collaboration here. I mean, from science in space and oceans to vital health projects, energy, governance, and that really critical maritime security piece. It's clear this is a truly comprehensive partnership. It feels like it's moving way beyond just traditional aid, doesn't it? Towards co-creation, shared strategic goals. It feels like it's fundamentally reshaping regional dynamics.
It absolutely does. The depth, the specificity, the engagement that we've seen through these agreements, through the leaders' statements, it really reinforces that idea PM Modi mentioned, that shared dreams and destiny. This deep dive, I think, shows us the practical implementation of that vision. It reveals how diplomacy translates into tangible projects, real strategic alignment across so many crucial sectors. And yes, with profound implications.
It really makes you think about the future, doesn't it? I mean, given Mauritius's huge exclusive economic zone and that explicit desire PM Ramgoolam expressed to plant its flag on Chagos with India's symbolic backing via an Indian vessel, you have to wonder, how might this evolving strategic partnership redefine regional influence and island nation sovereignty in the Indian Ocean in the coming years?
Right.
What implications does this have for international relations far beyond just these two countries? Could it even signal a new model for, say, South-South cooperation?
That really is the key question that emerges from digging into these details, isn't it? Understanding these specifics, like the Chagos vessel preference or the EZ surveillance request, it helps us see how seemingly, localized diplomatic events can actually have these profound ripple effects on global power dynamics. It challenges our assumptions about who holds influence and how those relationships are being reshaped right now in critical geopolitical hotspots like the Indian Ocean.
Truly food for thought. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we really encourage you, our listeners, to ponder the many, many layers of information we've uncovered today.